Am I the asshole for refusing to take my teen driving? Simple argument between me, 56 female, and my daughter, 17 female. My daughter has her learner's permit. She wants me to take her to practice driving. I agreed, but I warned her very clearly up front. Be ready to walk out the door when I get home. Because if I walk in the house and sit down, we are not going. Background. I'm a single working mom. I clean houses for a living. Obviously, it's physically demanding. I'm exhausted when I come home most days. Once I finally sit down at the end of the day, I do not want to get back up. She has an incredibly bad habit of being late, making me wait. She is on the spectrum. She struggles with time management. I refuse to let her use that as an excuse. I try to teach her ways to get around it. Start getting ready earlier, set alarms, etc. I even help her with reminders. The one thing I will not do is enable her. She needs to learn to respect other people's time instead of saying, "Oh well, it's my ASD." Currently, I worked an especially hard day yesterday. I was still willing to take her driving when I got home. I texted her I was OMW. She asked how long. 45 minutes. I texted her when I was about 5 minutes away. Be ready. Here's where it went to hell. Apparently, she decided to get on the treadmill for 45 minutes. Lost track of time. She wanted to shower before we went. I told her no. Be ready when I get there. She got in the shower anyway. I walked in while she was still showering, which means I'd have to sit and wait while she finished showering and got dressed. I refused. Once my ass sat down, I wasn't getting back up. I was crystal clear about that. She now thinks I'm an unreasonable asshole. I'm not a complete hard ass. I understand her challenges. If it was a one-off thing, I'd be more lenient, but this is chronic and disrespectful of others. Was I an asshole for not taking her anyway? Edit for clarifications. I didn't expect this to blow up. 1. I fully understand my child's challenges. I support her 100%. She is surrounded by loved ones and professionals who work hard to teach her how to be successful and live her best life. I'm not uncaring, ignorant, belittling or unsupportive. Y'all seriously assume the worst. She is getting great. She's also working very hard. I'm proud of how far she has come and tell her that often. 2. Sometimes it's because she's neurodivergent. Other times she's just a lazy asshole teenager. She is an amazing kid. I love her to pieces. But she's 17, and sometimes a jerk. I'm not putting up with that shit. Autistic or not, she's high functioning and capable of many things. And I'm willing to do anything to help her succeed. I still think she's an asshole for getting in the shower. 3. She took driver's ed. Unfortunately, it was 1.5 years ago. There was difficulty with her birth certificate. It took her far too long to get her learner's permit. Hence, my need to take her out practicing. Which I have done, and will continue to do. As long as she is ready and waiting. She fully agreed to that deal. 4. Y'all who think I'm lazy and just sit on my ass. I've been a single mom for 14 years. 2 kids. Their father doesn't do jack shit unless he feels like it. I've raised them, while working full-time. My oldest danced competitively. Any dance mom knows I worked my ass off for that kid. She went to early college. She's now set to get her 4-year degree at age 21. My youngest is on the spectrum. I've gone above and beyond to meet her needs, support her, and find her the best help to be successful in life. I don't just sit on my ass. I'm 56 years old. With chronic pancreatitis and the onset of arthritis. I clean and average 2 full houses or 1 big house every day. 5-6 days a week. I come home, make dinner, run my kids around, take care of everything related to running my household, and meet all of my children's needs. Every damn day. When I actually do finally sit down, yeah, it's hard to want to get back up. If something is needed, I do. If there's an emergency, I do. I have already and will continue to take her driving. If she's ready and waiting. But this wasn't a necessity. She knew my rule. I even told her not to get in the shower. That's on her, neurodivergent or not. She chose to get in the shower. I chose to sit down and tell her no. Edit number 2. Because. OMG. All neurodivergent people are different. Some of y'all are assuming my child's time management is some crippling disability. That I'm a complete failure at understanding or helping my child. This kid taught herself Japanese and studied abroad in Japan for a summer. She is capable of almost anything she sets her mind to. Sometimes she just has to work harder. And sometimes, she's just a lazy teenager who is self-absorbed and does whatever the fuck she wants to do. I know her capabilities far better than you do. Stop assuming the worst. Not the asshole. You set clear boundaries and you're allowed to do so. I have ADHD and of course I have issues with different things, but that doesn't mean everyone around me just have to take the consequences. Having a diagnosis might be an explanation for certain things, meaning people shouldn't yell at you and say shit like, "You just don't want it enough." But it doesn't mean people can't set boundaries or make demands if they're doing something for you. Not the asshole. You were crystal clear with your expectations. You are not being mean. You are being a good parent. Your actions now will help her become a responsible adult. Not the asshole. This isn't a time management issue, this is her being self-centered. She made two bad decisions to do what she felt like doing, completely ignoring what she was told simply because it didn't suit her. Choices have consequences. Not the asshole. You said, "Be ready when I get home. If I sit down, we're not going." You did not say, "Be ready when I get home. If I sit down, we're not going ever. You'll never learn to drive. Enjoy walking." This was one day. Tomorrow is a new day with a new opportunity to be ready to go when you get home. Personally, I think you're doing great. No. The expectations were clear and she chose to ignore them. Sit down and rest. She should have been ready. Not the asshole, but go easy on your daughter. I have very fond memories of learning how to drive with my mom. It is definitely good you are showing her the importance of time management. Just make sure you talk to her and let her know that this has been a chronic issue, and you are more than happy to take her driving another day when she is on time. Am I the asshole for refusing to pay my parents' mortgage after they took money from my savings without asking? I, 18F, work for my dad and get paid really well for my age. I've been working for him for a year, saving most of my income in an account they don't have access to, while keeping a little for daily expenses. My relationship with my parents is rocky because their marriage is toxic, and my sibling, 10M, and I are often caught in the crossfire of their unresolved issues. I live with them, but I'm planning to move out and take my sibling with me when I can. Recently, things had been calm between us, so I thought maybe I could trust them more. They've always said my money is mine, so I didn't see this coming. Last night, they asked to see how much was in my savings account. When I showed them, they grabbed my phone and ignored my questions about what they were doing. I overheard them transferring $990, the daily limit, into their loan account without my permission. When I got upset, my dad laughed and told me to transfer another $990 the next day. They didn't explain why they were taking the money or ask for my help beforehand. This morning, my mom admitted it was for their mortgage. I told her they could have asked me instead of taking it without permission. She said, "Your money is our money, and you're getting the house when we die, so what's the problem?" That really hurt because I've worked hard for my savings to secure my future and help my sibling, and now it feels like all my work is pointless. I refused to give them more money, which led to a screaming match with my mom. She accused me of being selfish and ungrateful since they've provided for me my whole life. I do feel grateful, but I also feel like they've crossed a line by taking my money without asking and then demanding more. I understand they're under financial stress, but I feel like they're treating me like an ATM instead of their daughter. I'm questioning whether I should just give in to keep the peace, though it feels wrong. Why am I the asshole? I refused to give them more money for their mortgage, even though I live under their roof, and they've supported me in the past. Maybe I'm being selfish by prioritizing my savings instead of helping them during a tough time. Am I in the wrong for saying no? Update. Thanks to everyone that offered their advice. I listened and called the bank and they have restricted all transfers out of the savings account, which is good. They also said that the only way right now to get the $990 back is by lodging a police report, but I decided against it. I am just not mentally strong enough to go against my parents like that ATM. Why did you repost it? Copy and paste. You should have called the bank immediately and reported the transfer as fraudulent, explaining how it happened. Not the asshole. Honestly, just move out, right now. This instant. And they are not good parents. At all. A good parent does exactly none of the above. Update. I called the bank and they have restricted all transfers out of the savings account, which is good. They also said that the only way right now to get the $990 back is by lodging a police report, but I decided against it. I am just not mentally strong to go against my parents like that ATM. Not the asshole. They stole from you. I'd move the money to another bank and change the account access to only you. Call the bank and report the unauthorized transfers out of your account. Not the asshole. First you need to find another job that your dad is in control of. As long as you work for him you'll always be under his control. Not the asshole. Change your passwords now. Also, call the bank and see if you can contest the charge. But you might also need a police report. I say this nicely, but stop being so naive. Since they've provided for me my whole life, this mindset from parents makes me so incredibly angry. Like, yeah, you actively chose to have children. Literally, your one job is to provide for them. They didn't ask to be born, you made that decision, and when you make that decision you face the consequences of it. AKA providing for them financially for as long as you need to. Not just until they become 18. They're your child from the moment you brought them into this world to the moment they leave it. You don't get to weaponize your decision and your responsibilities against the child when it's convenient for you. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for swapping suits between the wedding ceremony and reception? So, a few years ago when my grandfather passed, I inherited his pinstripe suit and vest, and only because I'm the only one who matched his build and height. It's a bespoke Connolly he had made nearly 35 years ago and it still looks brand new and stylish today. I have no idea how much it is worth exactly, I just know it is probably at least one order of magnitude more expensive than any other clothing I own, probably to the tune of mid to high four figures. Like seriously, take a look at Connolly's prices for casual wear and you will dump a brick. So I've got a rule, it's ceremonial. I wear it to look awesome at a wedding ceremony or funeral, for pictures, and basically any event where I have to do nothing but walk, smile, and where there is no food or where dancing and merrymaking might ruin it. I've got another pinstripe suit I paid maybe $300 for that is tailored as well, but it makes me look like a Wish.com version of myself compared to when I'm wearing the real deal. So last weekend I was at a wedding for my cousin. As usual, I showed up in the bling suit for the ceremony and wedding photos, and when we went from the ceremony to the reception, I did the swap because it was a buffet with an open bar and dance floor. Cousin's new wife didn't notice for the first hour. Then when she did she went full bridezilla and demanded I change back into my proper suit so I wouldn't look bad in the background of her reception photos. I refused, and she told me she'd kick me out if I didn't change. I told her I'm not ruining a suit more expensive than her wedding dress to look nice in the background of a few selfies and dipped, and now that part of the family has been blowing up my phone for ruining the wedding. Am I the asshole? The suit is so fly that a friendship broke over you not continuing to wear it? Now I really had to see it. I'm having a hard time figuring out how somebody's cousin leaving early ruins a wedding. Ask every single person who complains that you ruined the wedding if they thought you were the groom, and point out it's really weird that the bride is obsessing over the fact that you left early. Okay. At first I thought you were gonna say you changed them between your wedding ceremony and reception without talking to your wife about it, in which case I might have said you were ta. But you were a guest? No. You were there to celebrate your cousin and his new wife, not to be props in her wedding photos. Unless the suit you changed into was actually ridiculous in how it fit or looked like if it was some kind of costumey looking zoot suit, which I doubt. Absolutely not the asshole. Not the asshole. Demanded I change back into my proper suit so I wouldn't look bad in the background of her reception photos. Lol, what fucking _entitlement_. Not the asshole. It's common for women to change under the same circumstances for comfort and to prevent damage to delicate formal wear, why shouldn't you? I am really sorry for the bride, though. It's sad that she was not enjoying her wedding. I have to assume that that's the case because if she were as caught up in her new husband, her own happiness and the joy of the occasion as every bride dreams of, she wouldn't have been looking around for petty bullshit to criticize. Not the asshole. Most folks change outfits between ceremony and reception. I love that you have been able to honor your grandfather in this way. Smiling face with hearts. That rule makes total sense to protect it for future generations. Cousin's new wife sounds like she's a few sandwiches short of a picnic. If family are blowing up over that, that's a few less off your Christmas card list then. Am I the asshole for refusing to buy my son a cosmetic in a video game for $300? So my 40 female son, 10 male, likes to play a very popular video game. I've never had any issues with it, as he has not had shown any concerns so far. Yesterday he asked me if I could buy him something from the game. Normally I am not a fan of buying things in video games, but since Christmas is coming up I was willing to make an exception. I was thinking it would be around $25, maybe $50 at the most, and I could deal with that. But no, it was $300. It was some skin, or whatever they call it these days. Essentially, to look cool in-game. My issue is not that I cannot afford it, because I easily could. My issue is that he wants something in a video game, something that is essentially useless, for that amount of money. With that much money I could buy something physical that he could actually use. His father, 52 male, is calling me selfish and unreasonable for not buying this, telling me to lighten up because it's Christmas. We fought over this a lot. Forgot to add. I tried to explain to him calmly that with $300 we could buy him so many bigger and better things. He blew up on me. Said the same thing to my son and he seemed to be receptive. He was much more upset than my son was. My son literally could not care less and said it was chill. And went back to playing like nothing happened. Now if he threw a fit over wanting this skin badly I would understand my husband's frustration. But that's not the case here. Seemed he could care less either way. I told him about his reaction but he's still insisting that we buy this thing. Am I in the wrong for not wanting to spend so much money on this skin in a literal video game? Edit to address some comments. 1. As many of you guessed, it is the from League of Legends and it's the Jinx skin, I think that's what it's called. I searched it up and it is in fact $250, though my son had showed me a picture and told me it was pretty much $300, his words not mine. 2. We are an upper middle class family. We both work jobs with around the same income. We are not crazy rich but live comfortably. We try to be mindful and aware of spending money on non-essential items though, and I have been trying to teach my son with this value. 3. Yes, I am married to my husband, but I will not be revealing more information about our relationship in the slightest chance he finds this post. 4. I am sorry if I sounded dismissive of the value video games have. I also played video games when I was a kid, so I 100% understand the enjoyment it can bring to people. I am willing to spend a bit, perhaps up to $50 just for one time, even if it is for temporary enjoyment, if it makes him happy as a Christmas gift. But I just personally think that $300, or now I know it is $250, is a bit much for that. I would be more than happy to spend that amount on money on other games he could play instead of this one thing for this one game. I'm going to talk to him again and tell him that he can choose between this $250 skin or the other, physical, things he wants, which are in total $300, and it is his decision in the end. Thank you to those that offered this solution. Not the asshole, but your husband sounds unreasonable. Good luck with that. Tell us more about the relationship with your husband, and do these type of issue around money come up often? Not the asshole. Spending $300 on a cosmetic item in a game is excessive, especially when your son is fine without it. Your husband needs to chill more than anyone. Not the asshole. If you're not longer doing Santa, tell him that he's got a choice, multiple gifts or this one skin for Christmas. If he chooses the skin, stick with it. Bet he won't make that choice again watching everyone else open gifts when he gets a skin. Not the asshole. I'd say this is a teachable moment about value of money and spending responsibly. It's when people aren't taught these lessons at a young age that they buy things like the $4,400 rolled tape by Balenciaga. Not the asshole in my opinion, but I'm trying to think of a single game cosmetic that's $300, and still available, wasn't for an event. What the hell does he want that's $300? Is it the Brawl Stars skin? Does your husband want a mobile game skin? Regardless, it sounds like your husband wants the skin more than your kid, but also wants you to be the one responsible, fall guy for the irresponsible purchase. With the way your husband reacted, are we sure it isn't secretly for him? You are so not the AH.